Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here to give you another video. This video is on a DVD review. I haven't done a DVD review, I think, since... let me check. The last time I did a DVD review, it was called The Greatest Superstars of WrestleMania, which was a while ago. It was on... When was it filmed? I doesn't really say, but it was... Let me see if I can see when it was filmed. This video was filmed on March 24th, 2013, so it was a long time. It feels like, it doesn't really feel, it feels like a longer. So I'm going to be reviewing this DVD today, though. This is the Ultimate Warrior DVD, the Ultimate Collection. This is going to be my last Ultimate Warrior tribute. I did say in the last Ultimate Warrior video I made that I would be making one more tribute to the Ultimate Warrior, and this is it. This is going to be my last tribute to the Ultimate Warrior. We ended up losing the Ultimate Warrior this year, which is so sad. And when I heard this DVD came out, I really wanted to get this DVD. I saw that it was in Walmart in Hanover and Pembroke. No, it was in Hanover, Massachusetts. I saw it in Walmart, and it was the last DVD that was in here. It was this DVD, the Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and some WCW DVD. Ultimate Warrior, and I saw this DVD was the last one. I really wanted to get this DVD, and luckily Easter was coming up, so my mom says, "Oh, you can have this DVD, but it has to be an Easter gift." Yeah, so that was the deal, and I did get it, so I ended up getting this DVD, and I really enjoyed watching this DVD. Now, normally when I do DVD reviews, I like to show you the DVD, like the design of it, so I'm going to show it to you now. This is the front. This is the side. It just has his face on it. This is the side. It just says what the DVD is. And this is the back. Let me just show you the back now. It shows him shaking the ropes, and then it shows it. It's like one of the matches, and it shows it on the bottom. Now I'm going to read the back to you. It has over 25 matches, interviews, and vignettes, which is good stuff. Warriors experience the history of that which can no longer be contained. Prepare yourselves for what you are about to be consumed by a power that makes the skies rumble and the earth shake. In this Ultimate Collection, the power of the warrior is alive like never before. Descend into parts unknown, load the spaceship with the rocket, fuel, and unleash the 3-disc set, but beware, the action is truly out of brutal. I like that. That kind of expresses the character of the Ultimate Warrior. Now, normally I don't like to read the matches on the back, but I'm actually going to do it this time because they did something, they actually messed up on this. It says the matches include Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. It was title versus title. WWE, they called it the WWF back then, which is the World Wrestling Federation. And Intercontinental Championship match. It was at WrestleMania 6, April 1st, 1990, with pre-match interviews, which I will talk about later on. I'm just reading the stuff on the back so far. And then listen to this. Ultimate Warrior versus Andre the Giant, and Ultimate Warrior was Intercontinental Championship match. Ultimate Warrior was defending the championship, and it was at SummerSlam, August 28th, 1989. Actually, he wasn't the champion ever. Now listen to the next match I'm about to read to you. Ultimate Warrior versus Rick Rude, and Rick Rude's defending the championship. Intercontinental Championship match. He's defending the championship. SummerSlam, August 28th, 1989. It must have been a typo. They did a typo. That was a not good thing, yeah. The match that actually happened, though, was Rick Rude. His name's Ravishing Rick Rude. He's defending his Intercontinental Championship against Ultimate Warrior, and I'm going to talk to you guys about this match when I go through this. And then the last match that they has on here was Ultimate Warrior versus Macho King, career-ending match, and it happened on WrestleMania 7, March 24th, 1991. It's actually a year. Yes, was I made that video on the day that happened. Well, not like years later that happened. And then it says Ultimate Warrior discusses his career with WWE Home Entertainment for the first time ever. Um, that's good stuff. So I just showed you the back. I'm gonna show you like this. So like now I'm gonna open the DVD and show it to you. This is the first part of the opening. It shows a quote from the Ultimate Warrior, and it shows the Ultimate Warrior standing up high, holding the I think that's the Intercontinental Championship. And I'm gonna read his quote that he says: "You must show no mercy, nor have any belief whatsoever in how others judge you. For you, greatness will silence them all. Always believe, warrior." So I guess that was one of his famous quotes that he had, which I think is pretty good stuff. And then it shows the stuff in here. This part is him with the World Wrestling Federation Championship, and it has like the symbol, the Ultimate Warrior symbol, and then the place that holds the disc holders, I want to call them. This is the 3 discs. Pink disc with the yellow case in it, which I think it should be pink for pink, because then you have blue disc, pink case, and then yellow disc, blue case. I think it should be, yep, you should have to match colors, but it's just me. So I didn't take any notes. It's all on the DVD. But I have to take the disc out. I'm gonna put this in the case and read the first issue off the Xbox. Because I really don't feel like taking a chance and ruining the disc. So I'm gonna put this in the Xbox and read you the first disc off the Xbox 360. And I'm gonna turn the music down because I don't really think I need. You guys really need to hear that. Alright, so let's get right into it. I'm just going to set up the notes that the DVD has right here. And I'll just set up actually the rest of the notes. One of the matches was playing because I went back and we watched it a bunch of times. Alright, the first thing that says is his Warrior's back. It just shows him talking. He's talking about how he came back and he wants to experience what he is to career, because they've always told the one story. Remember that DVD they made, the destruction of the Warrior, that they talked about when they were. Yeah, so they made that, and that wasn't really the story. It was just them trashing the Ultimate Warrior. So that wasn't really the story that you really want to hear. So he says he's going to tell the right story. He's going to tell his story. Yeah, so and he says to sit back and relax, but it's probably going to be hard because you guys are going to be because of the exciting matches. So just sit back and relax and enjoy the show. So they play this video package of the Ultimate Warrior. And by the way, I should mention that it's just him telling the story. It's not like when you normally see in a documentary. You normally see like the superstar that the documentary's on. Like for example, let's talk about Ultimate Warrior. If it's about Ultimate Warrior, for example, if like Vince usually would say it then, and then it would be Stephanie McMahon. There'd be Triple H, John Cena, Sin Cara, Rey Mysterio. Probably Sin Cara wouldn't happen, but it would normally be that. But it's just Ultimate Warrior telling the story, which I think is nice, because if you want to tell the right story, only have him tell the story. So we talked about it plays the video package of Ultimate Warrior, his tag team with Sting, which they called the Blade Runners. Sting, also known as Steve Boydman, I forget what his name is. well, like his real name. Him going to WCCW, which was World Class Championship Wrestling. I think that's what WCW was before it was WCW. Then him going to the WWF, also known as WWE, his returns, all his matches, and him going to WCW one last time, which is World Championship. No, World Class. Yeah, I think it's just World Championship Wrestling, actually. So, then he talked about finding wrestling. He talked about how he lived in Atlanta, how he was studying to be a chiropractor who was just about to finish his schooling. And then he was doing some bodybuilding on the side, working some bodybuilding shows, and people, I guess, saw him somewhere, and he was offered to be a wrestler. He by Ted Turner. Well, it wasn't by Ted Turner, but someone saw him, and he knew Ted Turner. He knew all the wrestling guys because he saw him on TV all the time, and they had luxurious cars. So he would go into training for a couple hours with just them beating the crap out of each other. He said that he wasn't really spouting them up. So he went to California and did that. Then he talks about how he went into a tag team with Stin in Mid-South Wrestling, and he thought they were really dominant, and they compared them to the World Warriors. I don't know what their names were, but the World Warriors, but people compared them as, and they were trying to kind of be like the Warriors, not exactly like them, but they put the mascara on. They were really built, so he talks about that kind of stuff. And then we get the first match. What I like about this DVD, I should mention, is after he's done talk about a situation that happened, it will show like a match, and then it will talk about the next situation. Like, for example, he talked about the tag team with Sin. The next thing he talks about is the WCCW situation. So I really liked what they did there. The first match is the Blade Runners versus Percy Jackson and Sean O'Reilly. And this match, I think, happened in Mid-South Wrestling. It doesn't really... it just says WF, so I would assume it's Mid-South Wrestling, because Sting never worked for WWE. And this match happened on April 11th, 1986. This was a squash. They just come in and completely destroy it. They attack him before the match. He actually says, I think his name was... They had different names, but I don't really remember what the names were. Ultimate Warrior gives one of them two gorilla press slams, and then Sting comes in and does a splash for the win, and it was just a complete squash. I don't even think the other guys are on any offense. And then he talks about him going to WCCW, and he was happy. He said he left Mid-South Wrestling because he likes to do things on his terms, the way he wants to, and Sting likes to take direction, so that's why he kind of left Mid-South Wrestling. And then I think I talked about some of the stuff I might have already talked about when they did it on the network, so if I did, I'm sorry, but I'm just talking about it again. And he talked about how when WCCW brought him in, he was supposed to be a heel, but the crowd got behind him so much, and he just screamed babyface, so then eventually they made him a babyface. And then they show another, and I guess somebody he talked about was kind of drunk or something, and somebody, I guess, said Dingo as the dog, so he ended up getting the name the Dingo Warrior. And he ends up facing Chris Adams, and he was the WCCW champion. Chris Adams was the time. If you don't know who Chris Adams is, I know that he was the champion. I think I remember him feuding with one of the Von Erichs. I think it was Kevin Von Erich. I forget which one it was. And they talk about him feuding. And they talk about, and he was the one or two that trained Stone Cold Steve Austin. This match happened in World Class Championship Wrestling on, I think that says August 8th, 1986. Before the match starts, Percy Pringle, also known as William Mooney, also known as Paul Bear, may his soul rest in peace, comes out and says that we're gonna get a rematch. You don't deserve to be the champion, all that stuff. I really don't know what he was talking about here because he didn't really kind of go into detail with it. Really, he just kind of was talking about we're gonna get a rematch. So I didn't really know what he was talking about because it was back in the old days. So I wasn't alive when this happened. Chris Adams goes to attack Chris Adams goes to, Chris Adams attacks Percy Pringle, but he hits him with the microphone, and I think he hit him with his cane too. So that gives a chance for the Dingo Warrior to get the advantage, and he ends up throwing him and throwing his neck against the ropes. He ends up choking Chris Adams for like 5 minutes. Eventually, Chris Adams fights back. The Warrior does a slam. He ends up fighting back though. He has a nice kick to the head. He does a pile driver, which wasn't a big deal back then. And then he goes to cover him, but he doesn't get him. He goes to jump. He goes off the top rope and tries to jump on Warrior, but he ends up countering. And then he ends up hitting a big slam and an elbow, and he gets the cover, and Chris Adams doesn't kick out in time, so Warrior wins, and Chris Adams is all pissed. So I thought this was a pretty decent match. It was good. Rival in the WWE. It was known as the WWF at the time. I thought this was good stuff. He talks about how the WWF was looking at him. He said one of the workers was looking for him, and how he would be honored to go there. And they gave him a few nights. He said that he got like so much plane tickets that he didn't return home for 43 days, which I think is crazy. And he talks about he talks about how he went and did some squash matches. He did some dog matches, and he talks about how he ended up going to the WWE, and he was looking forward to it. And he has some squash matches. He squashes Barry Horowitz, which I covered, and Steve Lombardi. He ends up squashing them. And those matches, the first match happened at Challenge, November 7th, 1987. The second match happened on Superstars, November 14th, 1987. So they had Superstars back then. I don't really know if it's the Superstars now or not, because obviously they didn't have Raw then, so they had these were the shows that they had then. Getting noticed. So he talks about how he's getting noticed, how the character was getting over, he was really getting over, and people knew he was going to be a big deal. I don't remember what he says here. And he talks about, I think when he was working a match with Ken Holly Wace, he ends up getting chopped over the top rope, and he ends up getting injured his thigh, and his thigh was really big, and he was worried that if the company found out about it, he wouldn't get pushed, so he was trying to hide it. I thought that was good stuff, because that's kind of the fate of Dolph Ziggler. He ended up getting a concussion. Look at him; they're not even really doing anything with Dolph Ziggler right now. So then he ends up having a match with Ken Holly Wace. It's not the match where he got injured. This was in the Boston Garden, which is where Money in the Bank's going to be this year. They actually, a lot of his matches he had were in Boston Garden. This happened on March 5th, 1988. Yep. Ken Holly Wace comes out to Jerry the Kid Lawler's music now. This was good. I thought this wasn't too bad. Ultimate Warrior destroys him throughout this match. He actually, one of the parts in this match is he punches Holly Wace, and he ends up falling off the steps. You know, actually, something else he talks about getting noticed is everyone knew the business would change. It was becoming more of an entertainment company, and and that no matter what role they were playing, they were happy to play the role, no matter what role it is. So, kind of makes me think that maybe CM Punk kind of walking out was kind of babyish, because if you're a wrestler, you should be happy with playing no matter what role you're playing, because yeah, I just thought it was funny that he said that. But Ken Holly Wace gets some offense in. He ends up headbutting him in the groin. Well, kind of. He didn't really headbutt him in the groin. He ended up power driving him. But then Warrior does a sunset flip over the top rope, like literally over the top rope for the win. But I thought it was a pretty good match. It was good stuff. I thought Ken Holly Wace looked a little strong. He talks about how he upgraded his character, how he started running to the ring, how he started saying his promos. He would work a lot to get this character. He talks about throughout this DVD how he did a lot to get the character noticed, how he took it seriously. Like, he didn't know whether or not he would stand and wait to go after his opponent, or go straight after him. Sometimes he wouldn't cover him all the way. He would just stand on one foot. He wouldn't even take if he had a belt, he wouldn't take the belt off sometimes. So that's kind of what he talks about. He really what I liked is he really took, he was really serious about his character in the WWF. He took it seriously, which I thought was good stuff. And then we get him, and he talks about too how he was happy to work with Bobby the Brain Heenan. He said that he's a good manager to take the bumps that he is, and he talks, so it was good stuff. And he liked the gimmick matches he did too. So he faces Bobby the Brain Heenan in this match, and he's in Los Angeles Sports Arena, and it happened on July 15th, 1988. This match was good. What was it what you would expect it to be? A manager? Do you really think a manager is going to be the superstar? But I thought it was fine. He's going to put him in this weasel suit because he's been acting like a weasel. And the story is how Bobby Heenan's all cocky about, if you don't mind, I'm going to eat the, no, I'm not going to. Wait till after the video. And he's so cocky because he's beaten Coco Beware twice, which it's really not that big of a deal if you beat Coco Beware. And, I guess he signed this contract, but I guess he has to wrestle sometimes. At first, he tries to cower his way out of the match, but Warrior hides, so then he ends up going off on Bobby Heenan, but he tries to cheat. He grabs like a weapon from out of his shoe and uses it on him, but Warrior ends up getting the win with the Gorilla Press Slam and the splash, and gets the win, and then he puts him in the wheels of costume. Thought it was good stuff. And then him getting his run with the Intercontinental Championship, he was very happy to get his run with the belt, and everyone else was really happy for him. I think I've talked about this before. And I've already talked about when he won it. It was him versus Honky Tonk Man. He thought he was and it happened at SummerSlam, August 20th, 1988. I think this was the rematch. It's Ultimate Warrior defending. Now he's the champion. He's going to be defending the championship throughout this, now the rest of the disc. And he's defending the championship against the Honky Tonk Man. This happened in Philadelphia Spectrum on December 17th, 1988. He goes after Jimmy Hart first, who was managing Honky Tonk Man, and he actually chases him backstage. He takes him backstage to the locker room, and then he goes after Honky Tonk Man. And then afterwards, they start cheating. They do everything in their power. Jimmy Hart hits him twice in this match with the megaphone. They choked each other. I thought this was a fine match. Warrior ends up getting the win with the splash, and then he goes after them with the guitar. So I thought this was good stuff. And he actually, throughout this DVD, he talks about how he loved working with Randy Savage, the Macho Man Randy Savage. He thought that they both took wrestling seriously, that they would always work on their characters, that they always made sure they had enough coffee to get them through the day. So he talked about how he loved working with Savage. So we get the first match that they have together. This was a title-for-title match. Warrior is the Intercontinental Champion. Savage is the World Wrestling Federation Champion. And this happened in Boston Garden, too, on February 11th, 1989. I think this is when... No, it's not here. And this is a title-for-title match, and I thought this was good stuff. I thought Savage looked really strong in this match. This is when the Savage was feuding with Hogan, and this was when the Miss Elizabeth angle was going on. One of the fans says, Miss Elizabeth and Hulk Hogan dated or something, so Savage gets pissed off about this. Warrior's beating the crap out of Savage, though, and then Savage hits the high knee, does the axe handle up top rope, and he starts dominating Warrior. Eventually, Warrior starts coming back, and Rick Rude, who I guess was feuding with Warrior, is like out there opposing, and Warrior still continues the match, which I like. I like him. I didn't get distracted by this, because normally once they're there, they usually get distracted when the guys are there. I'm trying to remember what else I was going to say. Oh, and then, so yeah, eventually he does go to someone, he goes out after him, he starts beating him up, and then Savage does another, kind of does like an elbow to his ribs, to his back, and Savage wins by countout, so he retains his title, but he doesn't get the Intercontinental title. So he goes back after Savage, and he ends up gorilla pressing Rick Rude, which he wanted to do. I guess he said this is something he wanted to do. And then he talks about welcome at well, he actually talks about how they already know what's going to happen at WrestleMania 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. He talks about working with Rick Rude, and he said he loved working with Rick Rude. He said he didn't really care about winning the title. He says at some points where he thought he was good enough that he didn't really need a title to show it was good. He was just that main event guy. He only give respect to people who those are due. So we get the and I guess he lost the title at one of the WrestleManias to Rick Rude. So Rick Rude's now the champion going into this match. It's Ravishing Rick Rude defending the Intercontinental Championship against Ultimate Warrior. And this match happened at SummerSlam, August 28th, 1989. I thought this was a very good match. They both guys looked really good. Ultimate Warrior beats the crap out of him on the outside. He body slams him, hits him with the championship, suplex him, all that stuff. And Jesse the Body Ventura, who was doing commentary. I'm not really going into detail who does commentary in these matches because it's mainly Jim. I think we hear Jim Ross, Gorilla Monsoon, Randy Savage, you actually hear in commentary, Piper, Brother Love, who is known as Bruce Pritchard today. He doesn't work for TNA no more. Trying to remember, and I think we heard other people. I don't know. Oh, maybe Lalo. I don't know. But yeah, Savage gets the upper hand though. He ends up doing DDTs and suplexes. At one point, they both get knocked. They both do double clothesline each other. They both collide heads. They all take out the referee, and I was expecting Bobby the Brain Heenan was his manager, and I was expecting him to do something. And then he hits like a reverse. Rick Rude hits like a reverse tombstone on Warrior, and we tried to cover him, but he kicked out. And then he did it again, and Piper comes down, and I guess they were having something. Roddy Piper came down, and I guess they had like a feud going on. Rick Rude tried to get it, was trying to focus on Warrior, but he was getting distracted by Piper. So Warrior does electric chair, shoulder blocks, and then he does the gorilla press and the splash on Rick Rude and becomes the new champion. I thought this was fine. I thought the match was good, and both men looked very strong in this match. So I thought this was good stuff. Building momentum. He talks about how he was happy to build momentum, that the Warrior, how strong the Warrior character is getting. He actually thanks some jobbers because he says it's actually it's actually a good thing. It's actually not an insult to be a jobber because you can get yourself noticed and you can take the bumps to make the other wrestlers look strong. So he actually thanks them. So I actually think that's very interesting. So he ends up squashing some jobbers. He squashes this guy named Bob Bradley. This happened on Primetime Wrestling, September 18th, 1989. And then he squashes Brian Costello on Primetime Wrestling again, to December 25th, 1989. Throughout this, I guess this was when he started feuding with Andre the Giant. He said he loved working with Andre the Giant, too, in his DVD. And he said that Andre the Giant was always very passionate about the business. He was always in a good mood. And he said he never did anything he didn't want to do. If he wanted to do something, he did it. So he really helped you guys get over. And he thought that the slow Andre the Giant worked with the fast and furious Ultimate Warrior. I want to mention something, the Brian Costello match. He goes around the ring to get something, and Brian Costello is trying to punch him, and he's ignoring him. And then when he finally hits him hard enough, he just chops the shit out of him. I thought that was great stuff. He also went on the Brother Love show a lot, which was cool. I think he went on it twice. So Ultimate Warrior now confronts Andre the Giant on the Brother Love show. This happened on Superstars, July 29th, 1989. Brother Love Bobby the Brain Heenan's managing Andre the Giant now too. Because Andre the Giant mentioned how he stole something from the Heenan family, the Intercontinental Championship, and Andre the Giant says he's going to take it back. Brother Love is saying that Ultimate Warrior is afraid of Andre the Giant, that he fears him, that he shakes in his boots. Brain Heenan says that Andre the Giant's not like any other man. He doesn't need a snake. He doesn't need any of that stuff. He's just pure giantness. Everyone feels him. Then the Ultimate Warrior comes out and he challenges him to a match, and he says he's gonna pin him 1, 2, 3, and then leave. So I thought this was cool to see them face off. I think this was the first time they ever faced off. I could be wrong. This match was awesome. We have Ultimate, and I think you might know what match I'm talking about. This is the first match that's on the DVD. It's Ultimate Warrior defending his Intercontinental Championship against Andre the Giant. This match happened at Madison Square Garden, October, I think it says 28th, 1989. This was awesome. What ends up happening with this is Bobby the Brain Heenan has to leave the arena, or he's suspended, and he has to leave by the count of 10, so he leaves. Ultimate Warrior runs out. Andre the Giant's marking him, so Ultimate Warrior clotheslines him from behind, clotheslines him again, splashes him, gets the victory. Not even a 30-second match, and then he runs away, and Andre the Giant's like, why you counted 1, 2, 3? You didn't even win the belt to start the match, and you counted 1, 2, 3. Why? And then he goes after the referee, but it was true. He didn't count the 1, 2, 3 to and the referee never won the belt for the match to start. So I thought this was really funny, really awesome stuff. And then they showed the Saturday Night's Main Event match on November 25th, 1989 between those two. I already covered that match, so I'm not really going to cover it again. So that's just one. I thought that was a good disc. I'm going to give you guys my overall and general of it. Now we have the next disc. So now this is leading to Toronto. He talks about when he's going to face Hulk Hogan in his match at WrestleMania 6. And he talks about, I talked about this before, you know, how they went to the board of directors and the match was set up, and he said that he liked working with Hogan, so I've already talked about this. And his promo, I watched it a couple of times. I didn't really know what he was saying, so I'm sorry. We get him versus Mr. Perfect, and this match happened. And it says it was a title match, but it wasn't. It was at Madison Square Garden, March 19th, 1990. Good match. Mr. Perfect, I never lost. Ultimate Warrior runs out, and they're both running across the ropes. And Warrior attacks him before the match starts. And then Mr. Perfect, I thought he looked exceptionally strong in this match. He did a headlock to him, a perfect drop kick. Warrior, though, ends up winning with the Gorilla Press Slam and the splash. No, the shoulder block. He either does the shoulder block or the Gorilla Press Slam before he does the splash. I always don't know which one he does. And throughout his matches, I have not mentioned it, that sometimes when he goes for the splash, he gets the knees up. So, but Warrior wins, so this was the first time he ever lost. I thought it was fine. It was a good match. It was a decent match. And then we get his match with Hogan. I already covered the actual match, but it shows the interviews. Hogan talks about how how I'm going to be with all my Macho Maniacs. You cannot take me down. I hope all you guys. I hope I hope you bring your best. And Warrior says that he's gonna take down Hulk Hogan and spread his message. And yeah, I don't remember what he says. And it shows the build up to the match when they clashed off at the Rumble, when they both fought off Perfect and somebody else, and Ultimate Warrior accidentally ended up hitting Hogan, when they both ended up saving each other from Earthquake. So I thought that was good. And then he talks about his responsibility of being champion, and he thought it was a big responsibility to be the man of the WWE, well, the WWF at the time. He thought that it was a big responsibility, that he had to be on the road all the time. He barely slept, and he liked being the champion. He was like that next big guy after Hulk Hogan, so he said that he liked being the champion, working matches like DiBiase, Rick Rude, and stuff like that. So he said he liked doing that. I think we get the first DiBiase match, which I already covered. It was him versus DiBiase when they fought in Tokyo, Japan on April 13th, 1990 for the championship. So, and then it shows the one when he fought with Rude at Saturday Night's Main Event. Then it shows the other DiBiase match. It was him defending the title against Ted DiBiase. And in the main event. Well, that's the name of the show, the main event. At November 23rd, 1990. Good match. I thought DiBiase looked really strong in this match. He did a pile driver. He did the He did like that $1 million fist. He bounced him off the steps. Warrior tried everything he could to come back, but DiBiase was just on him. Warrior did suplexes though. He ended up doing his comeback, the shoulder block, and then Savage came down. I think when he had a Virgil ends up interfering in the match, and he goes to Gorilla plus Virgil, and Savage comes down and hits him with the what's it called? The cane that forget what it's called. But it's like a nightstick. It's like the cane. The royal cane. It's like the thing that the kings use. And he beats the crap out of him with it. And he holds up the title afterwards. It's looking that it's going to have WrestleMania 7 Warrior versus Savage for the title. And then he leaves, and then Warrior's able to get up, which was good. I thought this was good. Savage looked really strong. I liked how he ended up destroying the Warrior. I liked how they put that on. The next match, well, this is the last match on this disc. This wasn't very long. Ultimate Warrior defending the title again against Sergeant Slaughter at Hudsonville, Alabama, January 7th, 1991. And this was also another good match. There was a pile driver, I think, in this match. I wonder how fucked up Warrior's neck got, because he took a lot of pile drivers. And I like this match as well. Sergeant looked really strong. He did the neck breaker. He did the camel clutch, but Warrior was on the ropes. But then Warrior ends up coming back, and he does the splash for the win. But I thought this was also another good match. I didn't really like the commentary in this match. It sounded like it was like pre-taped, and you couldn't really hear what was going on in the match. But I also really liked this match. I thought Sergeant Slaughter looked really strong in this match. Now we have New Direction. They were talking, I guess, how when Slaughter became a rack, so they were going to do him versus Hogan for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. So they were going to do him versus Savage, and he was fine with that in a retirement match, and he didn't mind that. He was going to lose the title to Slaughter at the Rebels, and he didn't mind doing that. He liked working with Savage, and he thought it was a good concept. They had a cage match. It was good. It wasn't the greatest match they had together, but it was good. He ends up slamming him. He does the elbow off the top rope, and back then, I guess there were only one, so the ref had to run in the cage and pin him, and he kicks out of it. Warrior ends up, so Savage ends up getting out of the cage. First, he doesn't get out completely. Warrior's trying to hold on. What's her name? Sensational Sherry, who was Queen Sherry, because this was Macho King Randy Savage. Ends up costing him the match because he's trying to get Macho Man back in the cage. This was actually the old blue cage too, I should mention. But she ends up choking him with like the top with something. I forget what she choked him with, and then Savage ends up getting out, and he ends up stripping Sherry, but not completely, and then Savage attacks him from behind, goes to elbow him off the cage, but Warrior counters with a punch and starts beating the crap out of Savage. He just beats the crap out of him. The Nasty Boys try to break it up referees, but it just can't do it. Sherry hits him with the cane, but and tries to escape the cage, but Warrior grabs a hold of her and closes the door, and Gorilla Plus slams her. I thought this was good stuff. Warrior looked like a monster here. And then he goes on the Brother Love show, and Brother Love's talking shit about him. I'll say this happened to on Superstars March 2nd, 1991. This actually too, when he was talking about his Hogan match, he also talked about how he didn't get him up all the way for the Gorilla Plus Slam. So, and fans won't admit that even if he brings it up. So, I like that. anyhow, as I was saying, Ultimate Warrior ends up, so he was talking, yeah, so Brother Love's talking SmackDown, because pretty much saying how he's going to be a has-been, he's going to be the greatest, the ultimate has-been, the greatest has-been of all time. So he brings out the Warrior, and he says that he's going to end Savage's career at WrestleMania, and he's going to start ending careers tonight. So he starts destroying the Brother Love show, and Brother Love runs away, but he ends up getting a hold of him, and he beats the crap out of him, splashes him, and yeah, he ends up splashing him, and just shutting off my Xbox. He ends up oh crap. Okay. He ends up my Xbox was being weird. And he ends up ending his career, I guess, because he got taken out on a stretcher. So I thought that was good. Brother Love ended up actually doing commentary for the cage match Randy Savage had to. And then he talks about the retirement match, how it was a great match. He liked taking the 4 elbows, and it was a good match. It was like the expectations him and Hogan had. I'm not going to cover the retirement match because I've already covered it. It was at WrestleMania 7. I think I've already said the date. It was in the greatest. It was in the story of WrestleMania. So the next thing is he talks about his feud with the Undertaker, and he thought it was a great thing for a nice, scary, dark character to have, to be in a feud with an over guy in the company. And Undertaker actually was concerned because fans were cheering for him when he was facing him, and he's supposed to be the babyface. But Warrior's like, oh, it's all good. And he talks about going in the casket, and he makes a joke how it's the most sleep he ever had. So thought it was good. So now we have Ultimate Warrior on Paul Bear's funeral parlor, and this happened on Superstars, April 13th, 1991. Superstars sounded like the show to watch back then, because a lot of stuff happened on Superstars. So Paul Bear says that he's happy to have Warrior on the show. Says he's afraid of the Undertaker. He's shaking in your boots. He just pretty much says that. And Warrior says that he's not afraid of the Undertaker. Fear is a holding you back. Fear is a console. And he actually shows the gift of the casket. Undertaker, there's like a casket that's leaning up, and Undertaker comes out of that and attacks Warrior from behind. I guess Paul Bear was distracting him. Beats him up. Hits him with the a couple urns that are sitting at the holder. Puts him in the casket and closes it. And Paul Bear takes like the lock out of the casket so he can't get out. So a bunch of guys from backstage come out and try to get him out of this casket. It doesn't really work out in their favor. They use like a bunch of things. A shivel, a nail gun. No, not a nail gun. A crowbar, and a drill. But it's not working. He's in there for a while. Piper's on commentary too, by the way. And they end up getting him out, and it's all, whoa, what happened? So I liked that. I really liked that. I liked how they did that. It made Undertaker look really strong. And then he had a match with Undertaker that happened at Maple Leaf Gardens, June 2nd, 1991. Ultimately, he fights him off at first, but remember back then when Undertaker first started, you could never take the guy off his feet. That was the same case there. He ends up going back in the ring, and he puts like this hold on Undertaker. No, not Warrior. And he ends up getting down for a while. And then Warrior fights back, but Undertaker ends up slamming him, and he tombstones him. Warrior kicks out of it. And then Undertaker gets disqualified, I think, when he hits him with the urn. Then he puts him in a body bag. Warrior gets out of the body bag and fights off Undertaker, and officials hold him back. I thought this was good stuff. It made Undertaker look really strong. And then he talked about his hiatus, how he was gone for about 8 months, and then he did a WrestleMania. And he came back at WrestleMania 8, and the crowd went nuts. He talked about how he just needed some time off to do his own stuff, which is understandable. He was on the road a lot. And he talks about how when they did the press conference, they were asking, they didn't really have any questions for him, and yeah, that's about it. So then I think we got So then Gene Okerlund interviews Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man Randy Savage on Superstars July 25th, 1992, my best friend's birthday. What ends up happening is they're both going to have a match at SummerSlam for the World Wrestling Federation Championship, because Macho Man Randy Savage is the champion. And Warrior says that he has to be the best one to have the championship, and he's the best one. He thinks he deserves it. They kind of go back and forth. It was a very babyface versus babyface kind of promo. And then Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect come out and say that he's the best, and he wants to beat Savage now. And then 5 minutes later, he can beat Warrior. Savage runs out. I forget, Flair says something out to piss him off, and Savage runs out, beats him up, but the numbers game gets the best of him. So then Warrior comes down to make the save, and he looks at the championship, and he says he's coming after the title. He goes to hand it to Savage, and he just yanks it out of his hand. Thought it was very good. I thought it was decent stuff. And then Warrior talks about his tag team with Macho. They call him Randy Savage. They call themselves the Macho Maniacs. First, he talks about how he was supposed to beat Savage for the title again, but he didn't really end up working out that way, because I guess the match wasn't that good or something. And he talks about how he was supposed to... he doesn't talk about it here, but I'll mention it. He talks about how he was supposed to team up with Savage at Survivor Series to face Ric Flair and Razor Ramon, but it didn't end up working out that way, because he left again. I'm going to drink water because I've been talking for a while. And he ends up, I'm trying to remember what he said. He ends up, Ultimate Warrior. And he says that it ended up being Perfect teaming up with, Savage. And he said that didn't make sense, but... And then he ends up saying that he needs some time off, and then we get a tag team championship match. It's, I don't remember who it was, actually. Because, it's Ted DiBiase and IRS defending the tag team championships against Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man Randy Savage, the Macho Maniacs. They had Macho Man, the DiBiase's team had, Jimmy Hart and Virgil ringside, which they wouldn't really do anything. And this match happened on Saturday night's main event, November 14th, 1992. This was a good match. It was a decent tag team match. Savage hits the elbow, but DiBiase breaks it up before he covers him, and then they fight him off, and then they just leave and get counted out. And then they go to up the ramp up on the stage to attack them, and then Flair, Ramon, Ric Flair, Razor Ramon, and Mr. Perfect come out and attack the Macho Maniacs. So I thought this was good stuff. Build up their match at the pay-per-view. And then he talked about him going to WCW. No, he didn't happen yet. How Vince said he was doing some good stuff. He went to the gym all the time, and then it got closed down. And he opened it up, made it like an amusement park. He did his own comic book. And Vince wanted him to come back, but he said he's got his own thing doing. And he said that his wife, Linda McMahon, convinced him to come back, so he did. And he thought he did some good stuff, came back at WrestleMania, said that he was happy to be back. So now we're going to get to his match at WrestleMania 12 against, him versus Hunter Holdus Helmsley, known as Triple H, known as Dickface, known as Asshole, known as Go Fuck Yourself, the COO of this fucking company. And this happened on March 31st, 1996. And he squashes him because he deserves it. He deserves to get squashed. Triple H hits one pedigree. That was it. And then Warrior gets up, no sells it because Triple H sucks. He can't do wrestling moves. And then he beats the shit out of Triple H and then hits the splash on for the win. So Triple H deserved that. And then it shows him the next night. It says Pinpointing Goldust. Well, he talks about it. And he talks about how there was new stars coming in like Goldust, like Jerry the King Lawler, like Owen Hart, and he was happy to work with these guys, and he just considering himself, like I said, a main eventer, that he didn't really need the title. So, and I thought the night it shows like when he won the title, the Storm comes in and a return video for him. So he confronts Goldust though. It's his return, April 8th, 1996. I think this was the first appearance he had on Raw because there was no Raw when he was around. And he says that he's happy to be back. He said that he had to go find himself, but all these people brought him back. Then Goldust comes out. And he says that you could be a superhero, you could be Batman or Superman. And he's like, what do you think about that? And Warrior says, you're not going to play any of these mind games on me, they're not going to work on me. And then Warrior says he's going to kick his ass, and he punches him, and I guess they were going to have a match for the Intercontinental Championship. It wasn't on this DVD, so. And then he confronts Jerry the King Lawler, who ends up well, I guess that cost him a chance to win the King in the Ring. Yeah, he ends up, and he says, being a King's a hard job, I actually did you a favor, but we could just make amends. I got you a gift, I painted you a portrait, and I want you to have it. Warrior doesn't accept it, and says he's going to kick his ass at the King in the Ring, and King just hits him in the back of the head with this portrait, which was awesome. I wasn't expecting. Well, I was expecting him to do it, actually. I was expecting it to either be a trap or what. So we get their match. Their match happened. And by the way, that interview that happened happened on January 10th, 1996, and he was actually in ponytail mode. He wasn't really wearing his face paint or anything. So then we get Ultimate Warrior versus Jerry the King Lawler. This happened at King of the Ring, January 23rd, 1996. This was actually when Stone Cold won the King of the Ring. Jerry the King Lawler says that he trashes the fans. He actually sent some pretty entertaining lines about these fans. It was actually really good stuff. I only remember what he said, but he said some really entertaining stuff. Then Warrior comes out and he does all these cheating tactics. He pretty much just cheats this whole match, and then Warrior hits him with the flying shoulder block for the win. He doesn't hit the splash, he hits that. So it was really all kid until Warrior just made a comeback. I really liked that match. Then he talks about going to WCW, how they gave him a bunch of money, and Hogan wanted him there so they can do like a feud again. He ended up going back. Bischoff, and I guess he was like the head writer there. And he ended up, yeah, he was the head writer. And he got to decide the feuds, and he made like his own group of himself. When he and then he debuts, and he actually confronts Hollywood Hulk Hogan. It was him, Eric Bischoff, and the Disciple. I didn't know who that guy was, but then I did. Because I guess they were going to find this guy to help him get his belt back and at War Games. And Diamond Dallas Page, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall, because this was the other NWO, the Renegades of it. And Hogan's like, you can't put anybody in if you tried. And actually, somebody had a sign that said Bischoff for president. And Bischoff's like, I already am the president. I thought that was awesome. And then the smoke comes out. And he comes out. And Warrior just says that we played before. And I beat you before. And I can beat you again. And then he leaves. Henceforth, Warrior says he didn't like being in WCW. He was just brought back to lose to Hulk Hogan. And he didn't like that. He says that if he had known that, he would have gone back for all the money he was offered. Then it shows the next night him talking about how Hogan wasn't a man. And that happened on October 25th, 1989 on Nitro. Yeah, he talks about how he wasn't a man last night. How he didn't fight him like a man. So I guess the NWO come out, the Giant, which is Big Show, Horzon or something, and Eric Bischoff, and he fights them all off. I didn't like his WCW work that much. They didn't really show him much from his WCW, which I didn't really like. I wish they could have shown like a match that he had there or something, but I bet that he didn't have very many matches there too. And then he says that he finally got told the right story, and now that you guys know I've been inducted into the Hall of Fame, but I've always turned it down. But he's happy to be back now, and he wanted to wait until the right story was shown, and it was. So that was the end of the DVD. I actually liked this DVD. I thought it was different. I like how it showed what he was talking about. He talked about one thing, and then he showed what he was talking about. Like when he talked about the Stin tag team, it showed a tag team match from Stin. Then he talked about going to WCCW, because I hated when they show the whole documentary, and then it shows the matches, because then I don't really remember what he says in the documentary. So I like that they showed that. And I already know about this stuff anyway, so I probably would have, but this is my, I like this DVD. I definitely suggest you get this DVD. The matches, I like the matches that were on this. I like his promos. I liked everything about this. I didn't really like that they didn't show the WCW stuff. And they didn't really go about, like, his childhood. Like, when he was, like, in high school and stuff. So I didn't really like that either. But other than that, very well done DVD. It was all his story. No one else told the story. It was just his story. The other people's story was on the network. So definitely get this DVD, and that's my last time I'm going to really talk about the Warrior, unless I'm watching like a past pay-per-view or something, but that was it. So rest in peace. It's actually been 4 weeks since he's died, 4 weeks and a couple of days, so yeah, rest in peace, Ultimate Warrior, and I miss you. That's pretty much it, guys. All I have to say is, peace out.